It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
Hope you got your seatbelt on. It's Sunday morning. Time to talk cars for the next 60 minutes on your weekly automotive experience. I'm Nick Miles. You're listening to America's automotive radio show, Test Miles. Locally created, nationally celebrated. This morning's teams of individuals include Misfits, Rapscallions, Ne'er-do-wells, Jenny the Intern, Sean Walker, Old Man Brad is in the studio today, but Oli the Viking Volvo seller is off selling Vikings today. No, Volvos, that's what he sells. All right, what have we been driving this week? We've been having fun with a bunch of different cars. We've been test driving them, so we could tell you all about them here on Test Miles. The Lexus ES Hybrid is what I've been driving. A four-door mid-size sedan. You know, if you think about hybrids, Toyota seems to really have the market cornered, despite the fact that people in other areas, other car companies do really well with their hybrids. It seems to come back to Ford seems to be the leader in hybrids. Probably started with the Prius. Other companies. Toyota? Did I say? Yeah, I meant.
You said Ford.
I meant Toyota. So Toyota have, even though Ford have done hybrids, things like the Escape hybrid, they have the Fusion hybrid. It seems it always comes back to Toyota as being the hybrid car company. It started with the Prius. This is an effective hybrid powertrain, comfortable. It's a nice ride, very nice handling vehicle. Here's the thing about the ES, the Lexus ES. It seems to have a hard time when it comes to needing that extra power, as most hybrids do. You put your foot down, you need a little extra power to pass somebody on the freeway. It seems to struggle just a little bit. Now, I'm used to having high revs in an engine because I'm used to driving European cars, which this vehicle does, so that doesn't bother me so much. But I wanted to put my foot down to get into traffic this morning, and the car seems to struggle just a little bit there. So that's probably my major dislike of it. The other thing is, you know, Toyota and Lexus are looking at using Ford's infotainment system. This infotainment system in this car, although it's fair, it's not horrible, it's fair, it could be better.
What an endorsement.
For what?
It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me because I see all the different cars. I see things like the Dodge Durango that we drive, the Uconnect system, just flawless. I mean, pretty flawless. One thing that a company got absolutely right out of the gate is their Uconnect system. Mercedes, great system in that. I like the BMW iDrive. I like the Audi MMI, but not so much Toyota Lexus. They seem to have a harder time with the tech, but I don't think their audience is driven by tech. Their audience likes tech, but they're not completely driven by tech. This vehicle has 200 horsepower. It's a front-wheel drive, 40 miles per gallon combined. That's 40 city, 39 highway. What does it compete against? That is difficult to say because it being a hybrid, but in size, it competes with the Cadillac CDS, the Mercedes-Benz E-Class, BMW 5 Series, Audi A6, Infiniti Q70, and Lincoln MKS. As far as hybrids are concerned, Cadillac don't do a hybrid. Mercedes do diesel. No, they don't do a hybrid. They do diesel.
Doesn't Cadillac have a hybrid with the
CTS?
Oh, I guess, sorry, class. I thought you just said they didn't do a hybrid, though.
The CTS doesn't have it. BMW do diesel. Audi do diesel. They don't do a hybrid. Infiniti do a hybrid, I believe, in the Q70, and Lincoln don't. So competing, there isn't really much true competition.
Is the sister car to this the Avalon?
I think so. I came out yesterday when I looked at it first time and said it's a lot smaller than I remember the ES being, but the GS is a step down from this, right? Mm-hmm. So I think the GS is based on the Camry and this is based on the Avalon. Although Toyota are very famous for not using a same platform. They tend to combine 2 or 3 different platforms to make a car. $40,580 is the starting price on this. Sean, what have you been driving?
I actually been driving something Brad had a few weeks ago in the Honda Accord Hybrid, and out of this, I wouldn't buy any other Accord other than a hybrid. It's a fantastic vehicle. You get 50 miles to the gallon. It was KBB, Kelley Blue Book's 15 best family cars for 2015, and Insurance Institute for Highway top safety pick for 2015.
Now, is it Safety Pick or Safety Pick Plus?
Safety Pick Plus.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Plus is really important.
Yes, you're right. But, I mean, even price ranges, you could get into a fully loaded Accord for $33,000, and the hybrid's only $35,000. And this is the only hybrid out there that actually does better than its competitors. Because, like, you drive the Toyota Highlander hybrid, and basically from the V6 to the hybrid, you only save about 2 miles per gallon. Where
The Highlander, because that's an SUV, though. Right?
Well, I'm just saying. I'm just comparing the car. I'm comparing it. I'm just telling. It's like
It's a substantial difference between the gas and the hybrid.
Because basically, you look at those cars and there's a $10,000 markup for the hybrid version, and you're only saving 2 miles per gallon.
I think the only. I'm just trying to think of the hybrids that do extreme better. Ford Fusion hybrid does really well. And
yes,
it's what's it? 47,
they're starting
47.
to get a little bit better with the fuel economy with the hybrids versus its competitor, but it's like I just love this. You're getting almost 25 miles a gallon better, and it's an awesome vehicle to ride around. It's very smooth, very comfortable. I mean, it's not a sports car, but this is just a family sedan.
I think one of the things that a lot of people don't realize about hybrids is you do the math. It's really hard to make a hybrid work financially. You'll pay $5,000 more plus for some other things, and to save that money in gas at 2 or 3 miles a gallon saving, almost impossible.
But if you want to get into the Accord hybrid, base price for it is $29,305. So under $30,000, and you're getting a vehicle that's doing 50 miles to the gallon and a full size vehicle at that. How do you not buy this car?
I didn't find it too boring to drive. I thought when you needed to get into that car, it did a little bit better than what you were talking about with the Lexus.
I will tell you the thing about the Accord is it is the number one selling car that do not sell to fleet. So if you go for the midsize sedan, it's the number one selling midsize or small size sedan in the United States that don't sell to fleet. When you add in fleet, Camry beats it. But ultimately, they're just really good cars. You might not be a Honda fan, but they're just good cars. Please knock it if you can. But the vehicles, they're solid. They start every time.
And that's exactly where I come from, because I'm not a Honda fan, and there's nothing against it. I can't find anything to really nitpick. I mean, other than the trunk being a little small because the battery's in the back, but you could still fit 4 sets of golf clubs in the trunk. So to me, that's plenty of room.
Right, but who golfs anymore? Brad, what have you been driving?
Real people.
So I have to do full disclosure here. I learned to drive on a 72 Buick Riviera. So my Buick love goes back a long way.
1872, right?
Yeah, 1872.
Right.
So my Buick love does go back a ways, and had not been into a Buick product for quite a long time. And I know the advertising is out there trying to show people that you won't recognize what the Buick is anymore. And when the first time I saw this Regal in person, I was absolutely shocked at how beautiful it is. And the lines was this deep burgundy red. So, and it was the Grand Sport, the GS. So the interesting thing about the Buick is that it's moving closer to the Cadillac as a luxury brand.
Yeah, I think the way they position Buick is it's sort of the not in your face luxury. It's the doctor's car.
And I'm not a big fan of the severe lines on the Cadillac, and this had a lot more subtle lines to it. And it comes in 4 different trim levels, the GS being the top of the line. And they're all powered by the 2.0 4-liter turbocharged engine, 259 horsepower. And the driving experience was really, really fun. So the question then comes in, if you're buying a vehicle to impress your friends, are you buying a BMW, an Audi? Still does have the Buick label on it.
I don't think you buy a Buick to impress anybody.
No,
I think you buy a Buick because you like driving and you enjoy it a lot.
But you're competing with vehicles that do that.
Yeah, but take the price down a notch. Do you notice something? So what are the General Motors brands that are still sold? Chevy, Cadillac, GMC, and Buick. Is there 4 or is there 5? Am I missing one?
No, I think you're right.
Right. Buick, luxury brand. Cadillac, luxury brand. GMC, luxury brand. GM only have one non-luxury brand. Isn't that interesting? I just worked that out the other day. They got rid of so everybody wants luxury. So it is a luxury brand.
Oh, it is. And at top end price up at $42,000, although it does start in the $29,000 range. What I did really love on this vehicle is how easily integrated everything is. And every vehicle, every Buick does have the upgraded OnStar system. And that really 4G LTE, and then you can actually get some Wi-Fi hotspots.
Love OnStar. I love OnStar.
It really does work.
Yeah, sending navigation directly to your system after you call the lady. Hey, could you find me the closest
Starbucks.
I was going to go with Burger King, but could you find me the closest Starbucks? Could you direct me to Blue Owl?
And she just says, turn around, it's right there.
Yes.
Wherever you are.
Throw a rock.
All right, well done, guys. Still to come on the show. You want to be a rapper? I'm going to tell you how to do that. Also, the Rose Cup races, they're going to be in town. And the top news stories. It's all coming your way on Test Miles and FM News 101 KXL. I'm Nick Miles.
It's Test Miles on FM News 101. Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
Sunday morning, welcome back to Test Miles and FM News 101 KXL Automotive Radio Show live from our studios in downtown Portland. For the latest automotive news, just follow us at Twitter on Test Miles.
Hey, Nick, here's a fun fact. Dollar for dollar, vehicle wraps are the most effective form of advertising available today. One car wrap garners between 30 to 70,000 views per day.
Excellent. And if you live in a big city like Portland, probably that's higher than if you live somewhere like Bend or out in the countryside. So if you ever wanted to be a rapper, and I'm not the kind of rapper that throws down beats, the kind of rapper that raps vehicles, and that is, if you don't know what vehicle wrapping is, it's usual colorful plastic type material that goes around a vehicle instead of paint. And it's all the rage now for promotion, advertising, or just to make your car look a little better. Perhaps your paint is old and faded, so you want to get your car looking a little bit fresh and better. Our friends from BG Printing are here, back in the studio, Krista and Mick. Now, there's a school for wrapping, right?
There is, yeah. There is.
I'm sure we're not going to get over the Beats joke before the end of the day, but you guys are hosting some classes where people can learn to wrap vehicles, and it's a great industry because I know that searching for a rapper personally, somebody that can wrap my vehicle, it's been hard. The guys are booked out months in advance, so it's definitely a good business. Tell me about the classes and what's happening.
So we got a couple of them coming up. One of them's through the PDAA, which is the Professional Decal Application Alliance.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
That's why they came with a little short anagram for that. But yeah, so we've got one for the PDAA, and then we've got one that's being put on by Avery Dennison. Both are fantastic programs.
Now, who are these for? Are these for people who already do rapping, or are these for people who want to get into it? Or
it's really for anybody.
Okay.
It's really for anybody. You can be a novice and you can be an expert. The gentlemen that put these on have been doing it for years and years and years. So they can really bring some knowledge, whether you're an expert and you want to polish some skills or you've never touched vinyl before. So
somebody who might appeal, I mean, for instance, Kyle Keenan, the race car driver might be interested in wrapping his car with, test miles or something, and you could teach him how to put test miles all over his race car.
Yep, and get it to stay and stick and look good.
Right. So people come along to these classes. What do they learn?
They learn how to handle the film. They learn how to clean. They learn how to trim appropriately. Restyle a car. What it can do, what it can't do, what it can stick on, what it can't stick on.
So you have the first one that happens July 14th through 16th. Mm-hmm. It's a 3-day session. Mm-hmm. How do people find out more information about this?
They can find it on our Facebook page.
BG Printing.
And also robivers.com. He's the one that is actually doing the instruction, and he has all the information on his website.
Excellent. And then you have one coming up the 17th, which is the day after.
Yeah, that one's being hosted by Rob as well. They kind of break them up into independent segments, so you can purchase 1, 2, 3 days, all 4 with the testing.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's more of a master certification.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That would be more for a professional that wants to have more guarantees on their work. It kind of shows that they know what they're doing.
Make sure when people get on the freeway, it stays on there.
Are there certifications so if people are looking to wrap their vehicle, they can find somebody who actually knows what they're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can find certified people on the PDA's website, like myself, handle really complicated projects, make sure they know what they're doing. If they're going to be near your car with a knife, I'm sure you want to make sure that they're not going to do anything crazy.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and then you have some coming up in October as well.
Yeah, we do. That one's being put on by a gentleman named Justin Pate, and Justin is probably the closest household name to an expert that I can think of. So fantastic guy.
All right, so here's the deal, and I talked to you a little bit about outside. So we have a long-term Dodge Durango, which we got out of from Dodge. It's here till September, and I wanted to do a bunch of stuff to it. The wheels I wanted to spray black, and Dodge said, no, the car has to come back exactly the same as we gave it to you.
It can't come back better?
No, apparently not. I wanted to do a lot of interesting things, and apparently I got to vacuum the dog hair out of it too. That's a whole different story. Perfect detail.
Because I don't remember you ever doing that when I
I didn't care about it when you gave me press car spread. So I want to do a TV segment with you. What can we do to a Dodge Durango to make it spicy, but not, I don't want to. If I have to take it off with a hairdryer, I don't want to be there for 3 days.
Yeah, we can definitely do some stuff.
Maybe some little designs. What would you do to change the wheels or something like that? Would you probably spray them, wouldn't you? I mean, wrapping
you could
wheels.
Spray them. I've wrapped a couple wheels now. I've really had some clients ask me to do that. We did our own as like a test. It worked okay. There's little things I've learned from it, but
a lot of work, isn't it? Wrapping wheels.
Yeah, it takes me a little bit of time to do a rim and do it right.
Maybe I could just get water-based paint,
and then you have to go back when you curb it.
And
get it fixed.
Who curbs wheels nowadays?
I'm just saying.
Why are you looking at Sean? All right, we should get onto that project. So if somebody is interested in learning how to wrap a vehicle. The best place is to go to Battleground Printing's Facebook page.
Yeah, you can go on our Facebook page. We've launched a new website called bgpwraps.com. It's a little bit easier for people to find.
What's the rage in wrapping right now?
Matte colors.
Matte colors?
Yeah, matte black is still
carbon
right
fiber is
up there.
pretty popular too.
Carbon fiber.
See, one of the problems with the matte colors is though you can't. Well, if you have a car sprayed matte color, you can't put it through a car wash. Can you put a wrap through a car wash?
Yeah.
You can?
I mean, I wouldn't suggest it, but you can.
Right.
I know my dad does, and I yell at him all the time. But
and then you have to replace letters. It would be test mile. Right. The S would be missing or something.
I have had questions from clients who've asked, so when you want to take the wrap off, so you're selling the vehicle, what does that do to the paint? Is there any issue with that?
There is no issue with the paint as long as the paint was in good standing before you put it on. If you have chipping and flaking.
But this is one of the ideas is you could take a really nasty looking older car with faded paint and stuff, and you could, as long as it's a smooth surface, you guys can make it look all pretty.
Dude, yeah, totally. If you go on our Facebook page, there's a Datsun 510 that's about 4 or 5 different colors that's now sexy looking, and that's a hill climb autocross car, and it looks fantastic.
I think wrapping is sexy, although I don't think it's fun when they put your whole face on the side of a car. That has happened to me before.
Well, you're not a real estate person. So.
No, but they did it when they've done it before. They've wrapped cars with my face across the side.
That's why you're on radio, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, wait, I'm also on TV. How does that work? Thanks, guys, from Battleground Printing. Go to their Facebook page if you're interested in doing some classes and learning how to be a wrapper, meaning the vehicle kind of wrapper. And we'll have more information about the product. We're going to do some interesting stuff with these guys, Mick and Krista, and we'll be back. We're going to talk about Rose Cup races next on Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles.
Throw it in neutral and coast in with testmiles.com.
Live from our studios in downtown Portland, a Sunday morning. This is America's Car Radio Show. We'd like to thank you for being part of the Car Nation. For more fun facts about cars, you can go to our Facebook page, Test Miles Entertainment.
Here's a fun fact you can impress your friends with. The annual Rose Cup races are the oldest amateur road racing event west of the Mississippi River. Celebrated 55 years of racing this year.
Up to 400 amateur racers take part in the Rose Cup races, and 25 different classes of modern and vintage cars. It all happens in Portland, part of the Rose Festival. And our friend from the Oregonian is here, Jeff Zershmead. Jeff, you've driven the Rose Cup races, haven't you?
I've driven in the Rose Cup races, but never in the Rose Cup race itself.
Right. Have you ever won anything?
I've won lots of things, but not at the Rose Cup weekend. It's because it's a great big car weekend.
He won the drinking contest the night before,
right? The tiki contest.
Well, I gave good competition there. This is such a fantastic event, and it's really part of Portland history. It goes back to 1961 with Cascade Sports Car Club and the JCs and the Rose Festival Association, and it was the reason that we got Portland International Raceway. The Rose Cup was that first race, and everybody said, "Hey, let's make a racetrack here." And now we're the 55th year. It's more exciting than ever. We've got a great lineup and an all new group for the Rose Cup race itself.
So it takes place next weekend, right?
Yes, next weekend,
and it's a whole
Friday,
weekend.
Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. 3 full days of racing. The feature races happen on Sunday, so if you're going to pick one day to be there, Sunday is the day. We've got the Spec Miata.
After you've listened to Test Miles.
After Test Miles, or listen to Test Miles while you're there at the track.
Perfect.
We've got the GAS Series, Great American Stock Car Series, if you like sort of traditional NASCAR-style stock cars. We have the Spec Miata Grand Prix, about 40 or 50 Miatas totally going at it. We've got the Rose Cup race, which is Spec Racer Fords this year. Those are identical purpose-built race cars, so it's really a driver's series. And then the traditional Rose Cup cars are going to become the Festival Trophy race. So if you want to see the high-end Porsches and some of the other real super hot rods going at it, they'll be going at it for the Festival Trophy race. And then my own personal favorite, the WEMI Trophy race, which is vintage racing.
And what sort of age of those cars? What sort of cars do we see in the vintage
you have great
races?
cars from the 50s and 60s mainly. Some from the 70s even. And they'll be driving, and some cars you just don't see anymore.
Right, out on the racetrack. So if you want to go along, what apart from the races, is it like a carnival atmosphere out there at PIR?
It is. There'll be a vendor row as usual. Really, the cars are the stars, but you'll be able to walk right through the paddock and see everything that's going on there, and talk to the owners and the drivers, and check out the cars up close and personal.
So buying tickets now, do you buy tickets for each day or do you buy them for the whole weekend?
That's up to you. You can buy tickets. Tickets are available at the gate. You can buy a 3-day pass for the event, or get a ticket for each individual day.
So the Rose Cup race itself, explain to me what that race is.
The Rose Cup race is the premier race that happens in Portland every year.
So that's the Grand Prix.
It is the Grand Prix. It is our race. It's, as you mentioned in your fact, oldest continuously running annual race west of the Mississippi, surpassed only by a couple of years by the June sprints at Road America in Wisconsin. But this year we have the Spec Racer Fords, and as I mentioned,
so that's the Rose Cup race.
That is the Rose Cup race. The one originally won by Jerry Grant, won 7 times by Monty Shelton. The race with the great history.
I've heard plenty of interesting things about Monty, and when he gets even like 5 years ago when he got on the track, he'd kick most people's backside. He was still an amazing driver.
Monty is still an amazing driver. Monty told me a while back that he works out 6 days a week, and so I think he's 78 now. Still in great shape, still a great driver, and I think he plans to be there.
Oh, that'll be great
this weekend. And
is his son Neil going to be racing?
I don't know if Neil's going to be racing or not, but Neil usually races his Club Ford, a Formula car, and Monty's been racing in the vintage group the last few years. And so he won the WEMI Trophy last year. Monty won the vintage race last year, claimed the WEMI Trophy. Still an amazing driver with a fantastic history. The winningest driver in Rose Cup history. He's won it 7 times.
Is that a word, winningest?
Winningest. It's a racing
He's
term.
at the Oregonian.
You might not know that word, but winningest is a racing term.
Was it
I just know
number
winner.
51 Porsche? Is that what I remember as a kid?
57. Monty is always number
57.
All right, nice. So let's talk about who the drivers are in that Rose Cup race. So you obviously have every car is equal.
All the cars are equal, and so we've got a really great stable of drivers, mostly local, right here to Portland. Todd Harris runs Pro Drive Racing School at PIR, and by the way, if you ever want to learn how to drive a race car, Pro Drive is your spot.
We know Todd.
He's going to be there. He is really on the short list. He won the Rose Cup race in 2007 driving a Chevrolet Corvette. But he's going to be out there in the SRF this time, and he's on the short list to win. Steve Fogg, another local driver out of West Lynn, another great contender to win the race, and John Tipton will be there. Gary Manchester, these are all local guys who really could go the distance, and Dan Halloran, a local driver, lives right up on Barber Boulevard. And then coming up from Los Angeles, 4-time national champion named Mike Miserandino. He's maybe the only man who can really challenge Todd for this win. He is a phenomenal driver, just absolutely phenomenal. And John Black up from San Francisco area, he's a 2-time national champion. And so these guys are all going to be fighting tooth and nail. And here's the twist. There's actually 2 kinds of SRF cars. There's the last generation engine and the next generation engine. All of these top drivers are going to be driving with the next generation faster engine, and they're starting behind the slower cars.
Oh.
So these guys are all going to have to not only race with each other, but they're going to have to race through all the slower cars to get to the lead.
Right.
So this is going to be a race that you absolutely do not want to miss.
So if you're going out with a GA ticket, general admission, where do you want to sit at PIR?
You want to sit either in the festival curves, the chicane along the main straight.
That's at the end of the end of the main straight, right?
Walk down the main straight past the start-finish line.
Right.
You can get to the outside there, or cross over on the footbridge very near to the paddock and walk down and sit right at the point of the chicane on the inside.
That's where all the drama happens, is it, the chicane?
Not all the drama. In fact, I would say that about half the drama will be at the chicane this time, and about half in what we call the circus, which is turns 10, 11, 12 at the east end of the track. And that's right next to the paddock. It's very easy to get to, and you're going to see some great racing there in the circus as well.
How much is it going to cost me for a day or for a 3-day ticket?
I think it's like $25 or $30 for a 3-day ticket. Don't quote me on that. I haven't looked. And like $10 or $15 if you just want to come on Sunday and see the big races.
We'll find that out before the end of the show, exactly how much tickets are. And, of course, part of the Rose Festival as well.
Yes.
It's a big part of it. And you're going to be the voice.
I will be. I'm joining Bob Akamian. Bob Akamian is the lead announcer for the track that weekend, and I will be on Bob's team, more or less calling play-by-play.
Excellent. Good. It's just like a real... it is a real race.
It is very much a real race. This is a
Jeff
race
is the Rose Cup's Jackie Stewart.
I like
it's a
that.
great day for a race, aye?
All right, now you just ruined it. All right, still to come on Test Miles. We're going to take a look at the top stories in the news this week in automotive. We'll find out about recalls. We'll find out about new cars. We'll find out about how you could own a little bit of Ferrari. That's coming up next. Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles.
Favorite us, tweet us, friend us, love us, all at testmiles.com. It's Test Miles on FM News 101.
Live from our studios in downtown Portland. It's a Sunday morning. This is America's Car Radio Show. We'd like to thank you for being part of the Car Nation. More information, go to our website, testmiles.com.
Here's a fun fact to impress your friends, Nick. The Honda Passport built by Isuzu, I said that totally wrong, was the first SUV that was Honda launched.
So the Passport was originally built by Isuzu.
Yep.
Interesting. All right, let's talk about some of the news stories that happened this week. Jaguar, their new baby SUV. It may be called the E-Pace. We saw the F-Pace announced at New York International Auto Show. Everybody getting into the small luxury SUV territory. It seems to be where everybody wants to be. Kind of an interesting fact. The other one is, you don't often see this happen, but Mazda is revising the total number of vehicles that were affected by the Takata airbag problems down. I didn't expect to see this. It's going from 472,056 down to 464,000. So dropping almost 8,000 vehicles off of the list that they were going to be in the recall. And that's still ending up as a nightmare. Talked recently with Stephen Rebecca on the morning show here at KXL about that, and I think it's going to be hard for the company. If their shares drop any more at Takata, then they may have some financial issues in satisfying all of that. You guys find interesting car stories? Yes?
I found one from Tesla.
Okay.
Tesla is actually trying to come out with full-size trucks and basically like electric dump trucks that make frequent stops in the city to help with fuel economy and save on our fuel.
And electric's always good for getting from 0 to 60 with a big load. It's that one gear thing.
Well, and the thing with this story is that it's like for dump trucks that make a stop every 2 feet, basically.
Right.
I mean, going from house
Like
to house.
garbage trucks, that type of thing.
Exactly that.
All right. Interesting. Brad?
Well, speaking of electric, there's been a little pushback lately on rebates going back to EV buyers. There's still the $7,500 federal tax credit, but some states such as Connecticut, Illinois, Georgia have suspended their state rebates going back to customers because they need to balance the budget. It's fairly expensive. Federally, we're not going to be really close to it for a while, as Nissan's Leaf has sold like 73,000 units, but once it gets to 200,000, those federal rebates go away.
All right.
It'll be interesting to see them trying to stand on their own.
Zhenya, you're grabbing the mic. What do you want to say? Oh, no.
I have my story.
Oh, wait. What is it?
So we've seen hybrid technology go into many different types of cars. We're going to see it going into trucks with the F-150. We've seen it go into hypercars like the LaFerrari and the Porsche 918. So Porsche is going to move that hybrid technology into the next generation 911, the 992. And
so this is so the 918 had was that hybrid? No, it was electric. In the 918, the Porsche 918 was a hybrid because it had the hybrid and it had the wheels on each side, the hybrid electric wheels on each side. So they're going to put it in the 992. Did you say?
Yeah, that's the next generation 911.
All right, interesting.
And they'll be launching at the end of the decade.
I'm sure it'll still be called a 911. That would be probably a bad.
Yes, but if you're very big Porsche enthusiast, then you would know it'd be called the 992.
Jeff, did you have any stories that ended up catching your eye this week in the news?
Not really, just the new Mitsubishi Outlander, which I know you're going to be talking about here in the next couple of weeks, so I will leave the mystery intact, but there's some big news there.
Yeah, Mitsubishi, an interesting company. I pegged them as selling a lot more cars than they said they would. They did. They sold 16,000 of their Mirages the first year out of the gate. And I knew the car was going to find a niche in that market. But the Outlander, it's going to be interesting to see how that does. We saw so many great concepts from them. And so that Outlander is much anticipated. We're going to have somebody on from Mitsubishi coming up very soon in the next few weeks or so. I did notice a whole bunch of stuff with recalls, though. It seems that we've defined recalls down to 2 or 3 major ones. Last year there was so many recalls, almost like every week coming out with a different recall. But we're still kind of down to the ignition switch, the airbag, and the airbags are the 2 big recalls which have all the numbers in them as far as cars are concerned. And the ignition switch, they still haven't managed to get them all off the road. In fact, I see every week more deaths attributed to that ignition switch. And it's if you have a recall, you got to go to the NHTSA website, nhtsa.gov, type in your VIN number. You will be surprised at what you find.
And how quickly that's the big issue right now, is how quickly the dealers can get you in.
Right. Airbags is going to take 5 years to resolve the airbag issue. That's what Takata is saying. 5 years. If you have however, here's the positive part. Living in the Northwest, we are lucky because if you live in a humid area like the Southeast, that's where the airbags go off with the problems when they shouldn't. In the Northwest, we don't have the humidity, so they're saying it's a lot safer. Now, what are you going to do if you have a bad airbag from Takata in your car?
And so it trickles down when you're buying a used car. So you really need to do your research.
Absolutely. And
whether that car's being
take the VIN number before
serviced.
you buy a car. Take the VIN number, go type it in, and see if there's any recalls outstanding on that vehicle. If there is any, you can ask the dealer to fix it before you buy it. There is legislation that's being prepared that's going to force them to do that.
Yes, but then you've got CarMax and you've got some of those other people that are competing with the dealerships. So how incentivized are the dealers to fix those cars before their customer cars?
I think the dealer fixes, probably fixes their cars way before they're going to fix other cars. If you have a car sitting in a lot that needs a fix before it's sold, I would much rather go to the dealer probably than I would to someone else that sells cars. And again, what's going to be put into that vehicle? Do you put a new Takata airbag back into a Takata car? Car that has one currently? That's a difficult question. I don't know if I want their airbag back in my car. But if you have one, you know, get it fixed as soon as you can. Get on the list. The sooner you put your name down on the list, the sooner you get it fixed. Thanks to Jeff Zerschmied from the Oregonium talking to us about the Rose Cup races coming up next weekend. We did confirm the price, by the way. $20 online, $25 at the gate if you want to go for all 3 days. Thanks to the guys from Battleground Printing. If you want to take those master classes, check out their website or their Facebook page. Thank you to the whole Test Miles team. We're going to go off for a week of traveling. I'm going to tell you all about driving the new Alfa Romeo 4C Spider next weekend. That's going to be fun. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next weekend. Check out our website, testmiles.com. I'm Nick Miles.
Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. Testmiles.com.